it's shot. This is my 1983 Honda VF750s. Picked this up for $250. The carburetors all came in a bucket. Other miscellaneous parts. Didn't have a battery, and the engine was stuck. I didn't know that when I bought it, but I found that out later. It was stuck. I mean, not too bad. I broke it loose fairly easily, but overall for 250 bucks, not a bad bike. Hasn't been registered since 2004. This is 2018. The front brakes are pretty stuck. Clutch is no fluid in clutch or the front brakes. And of course there's no carburetors here where there should be. But it does turn over freely now. The starter cranks it over good. Paint is pretty nice on it still. No rips in the seat. Overall, it's a pretty clean bike. 19,523 miles. It's got some wiring problems too. The headlight's not working right now. It was working at first, but a few things I gotta work out. Had the carburetor soaking in a solution of diesel fuel and ATF for 2 or 3 weeks now. So I'm gonna tear into those tonight and see what they look like. Okay, here we got number 1 carburetor. Let's take the bottom off and see what it looks like inside. Since these carburetors were sitting in a 5-gallon pail for 10 years, you never know what to expect. It's not bad. Not bad at all. The valve even opens and closes like it should. The gasket's hardened, but got rebuild kit, so start installing that. Pull the float out here. Just comes out with this little pin. Out comes the float with this little valve attached to it. That's what keeps the carburetor from overfilling. It's got this little screen. It's made for filtering the gas as it comes in. It's actually really clean. So this little needle just drops right in there like that. And now we're going to remove the diaphragm. And this diaphragm, you want to be really careful not to rip it. It's pretty expensive to replace. Slide it right out of there. Needle here. This is what controls how much fuel goes into your engine. This plunger thing goes up and down and slides this needle inside the main jet, and it's tapered, so as it lifts up out of the hole, it leaves more of a gap around it for fuel to come through. Okay, now it's all that's left to take apart are the pulling the jets out. I'm not gonna mess with the idle screw just yet. If I don't have to mess with the settings, I'd rather just leave it because this carburetor looks really clean. Hopefully I can get away with just blowing out all the passages with cleaner and compressed air, and how it goes. Let's pull these jets out. This first one here is the main jet. And these carburetors do have specific jets between the upper and lower carburetors, so you want to rebuild these one at a time so you don't mix up the parts. Okay, we got the carburetor fully disassembled, well, almost fully, about as fully as I'm gonna go, and got it all sprayed out with carb cleaner and blown out with compressed air. It looks pretty good. The idle screw, I wasn't going to mess with it because there's supposed to be a tamper-proof cover right here, but as you can see, the cover's missing, and I can see screwdriver marks, so somebody's already messed with it, and so there's no reason to think it's set where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out just to clean it. Okay, when you take these out, you want to first thread them all the way in until they bottom out, and count how many turns it takes to do that, but don't bottom them out hard or you'll damage it. 1.5 turns in. Okay, now I'll just back it out all the way. And there should be a little washer and O-ring still inside of there. It'll come out. Okay, that little O-ring with the idle screw finally came out, but it's shot. It's supposed to have a washer on the screw first and then this O-ring, and the washer was missing, so it would not surprise me if this bike was not running right before they tore it apart. But thankfully the carburetor kit I bought on eBay has a new idle screw and all the little pieces with it, so we can just replace those. There's our nice new shiny pilot screw next to the old one that is missing the little washer and has that squished O-ring. Now, since we're replacing the pilot screw with a new one, we don't go by the settings of where the old one was at. The manual says to thread it in until it lightly bottoms out. Don't tighten it or it'll damage the seat. So thread it in until it lightly bottoms out and then back it off 2 3/4 turns out. And that'll give you an initial setting so that you can get the bike started and then fine tune it later once the bike is running. And next we're going to install a new float valve. Install this main jet first. Thread it back in. Okay, let's put the diaphragm back in now. Should just drop right in. Gotta line up this little thing over the opening. It's all pushed down in there like it should be. Get our spring, drop that back inside. Make sure we have the cover lined up with that little indent right there. There's our spring. And put in our new screws. And don't forget to put this little screw in the end of the main jet. And next we're gonna install our float. Just slips onto the float valve like so. And you just drop it down into its seat. Take the pin and slide it into place, just like that. And another thing you need to do once you have the float installed is measure the float level, and you measure that from the flat spot here on both sides to the top of the float. And to adjust it, you bend the little tang right there. There's a special tool for that. I just use a caliper because I don't have that special tool, and hopefully I got it close enough. For the V45 Sabre, the distance should be 8.3 millimeters from here to here. Now we'll take our new fuel bowl gasket. It's nice and soft and pliable. Here's the old one. Just compare that. Hard as a rock. Put it down in the groove. Make sure the groove is clean. Fit in there nicely like that. Just put it on the bottom of the carburetor. Just like that. And put in our nice shiny new screws. That should finish it. This carburetor is rebuilt. On to the next one.